Hi, this is Eric from Switched, and today we'll be adapting the Playskool Explore and Grow Busy Gears. First, we're going to need to remove all the screws on the back panel of this blue section. And then you can remove that back panel and it will expose two screws that we need to remove on the circuit board that just holds the circuit board down, because we need to get to the underside of that circuit board. Once you have the screws removed, you can remove this rubber gasket on the back of the circuit board, and this will expose a little disc that we are going to solder to. Before we do that, we need to drill a hole for our 3.5mm headphone jack, and go ahead and fish your headphone jack wire through that hole. And go ahead and fish your individual wires from your headphone jack through the holes in the circuit board where that rubber gasket was being held. Before we solder, it's a good idea to put a little flux on the circuit board. This will just help prevent the circuit board from burning up. So the best way we found to solder to these discs is to get a little solder on each of your wires to begin with. Now you see that that disc is made up of two halves, and what's important is we want to solder one wire to each half of that disc. Now it's important that we do not let that solder touch or cross over from one half to the other, otherwise the toy may just constantly go off or may not work. So take your time, make sure you don't get any solder that crosses over to both halves of those discs. And once you get it soldered, it's a good idea to test it before we put it all back together and make sure that it works. Once that's done, we like to add a little hot glue to the circuit board. That just makes sure everything kind of stays in place. And we want to put a zip tie on the inside of the toy that will help prevent a child or somebody from accidentally yanking on the cord and disconnecting our connections. Once that's done, go ahead and screw the two screws back to hold the circuit board in place, and screw in all the screws on the back panel. Switched Adapted Toys, making play possible. For more information, visit our website at www.switchtoys.org.